Big day today.
Yes, big day. Black Ops 3 reveal trailer came out, and to me personally, it was kind of disappointing. I felt that it should have been longer and more in depth in some of the, I guess, feature aspects of the game. It wasn't, but then they did do the Twitch reveal afterwards, where it was like a Q&A session with David Vanderhaar and some other random guy that I don't know, and they hit on some key things that I thought were interesting.
Yo,
Wall
so
jumping.
did they totally rip on Titanfall? That's the first big thing you see when you see some of that game footage. It does look a lot like Titanfall.
No, and here's why I say that is because while Titanfall is probably the game for wall jumping and wall running, I think David Von Haar said that it was limited, and by limited he meant that the only certain maps have it, and only certain parts of that map have it. Like, go back to the dynamic maps from Ghost, or they call dynamic maps. It weren't it was it's fucking stupid, honestly. But if you look back at that, not everything was dynamic, or the whole map didn't change. Just like the gas station, the fucking thing fell down, and you're all like, oh woo. But it's kind of like that. It's kind of like there's only certain maps, there's only certain areas. I would imagine, like us, like one section, one like little alleyway where you can wall run and bang across the buildings to get to the other side, something like that. I don't see it being
Gotta be long
a
enough
lot.
for you to roll run.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I don't
shortcuts.
see
They're
it
using
being
them as shortcuts.
yeah, I don't see it being a lot. Like there's probably just gonna be one section in the map, maybe the middle of the map or something like that, where you can wall bang or whatever. But I don't think they ripped
Shortcuts
Titanfall
is
for that though.
Maybe wall run for shortcuts.
Yeah.
Well, he said if we're talking limited, then depending on how big the map is, it sounds like it's just going to be a shortcut to get from, say, like on a domination match, to get from C to B or B to A.
Probably something like that. And then another thing that they brought up was the boost jumping, or whatever you want to call it, jetpacks or whatever. Those aren't necessarily like Titanfall or Halo, or Halo jumping, or Destiny or anything like that, where you're going like 40 feet up in the air. Apparently they're just limited to like one story, like a semi trailer. If you noticed in the reveal trailer, the guy boost packed or jet packed up to the top of the semi trailer, and it looked like that's all you could get. So you're not going to be able to jump 30 feet in the air like you could in Advanced Warfare or some of these other games. And I don't think it's going to last long enough. Kind of like I don't know if you guys remember the Halo 5 beta. Like, you could still Halo jump, but you couldn't like truly Halo jump, like hang in the air for a couple seconds, things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like that, where you can jump up in the air and almost kind of like just like glide up there, but then you come right back down. So I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna be okay.
Let's hope so, because we're all looking forward to something that's better than like that Black Ops experience.
Yeah.
Like, or better than I guess what we've been getting since we're dying for a more Black Ops 2 experience.
One thing that I want out of this game more than anything else is non-broken league play.
That would be nice. And, if anybody's going to do it right, it's going to be Black Ops, because they kind of started it and got that whole league play system going.
Yeah, because I remember in Black Ops 2 league play, it worked, but it was still kind of broken. Because you could get to Diamond, or was it Diamond that was number one? I forget. Masters. Yeah, Diamond Masters. You could get up there and you would be playing these. Remember when they would sit in those little fucking holes with the riot shields and shit? And then, I mean, I hope they do something to where it's truly skill based and it's not just wins and losses. Like, I hope they should count wins and losses because it matters, but I think it should count your specific skill as to where you go, or your team's overall skill as to where you go.
Yeah, I'm fine with skill based in rank play. That's my pet peeve in Call of Duty, which is I'm not gonna hack on Advanced Warfare, but got skill based pub. Talked about this earlier today on WeChat. It's just skill based shouldn't be for pubs. At least have a couple people just now starting the game, so everybody does not need it. The whole game does not need to be like rank play. If that makes any sense. I enjoyed pubs until they put that patch on Advanced Warfare, and then I hate it. I have more fun playing rank. And I rage a lot at rank. So
it's nice to have that casual aspect to go along.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to drop 50 or 60 bombs sometimes and actually record it instead of dropping 34 and 34 in each match in the public.
Right.
I understand it. I understand it in league play type ways because, yes, I love that. It's competitive. It's more exciting. But public matches, sometimes I go to public matches to let my rage out from me doing bad at rank play.
Right. No, I understand that.
I still
Everybody
think,
loves a good pump, stop it.
Yeah, well, I think it's yes and no. Like, I don't know, maybe they should do, like, I don't want to say 2 separate pub lobbies, but I still think the pub lobby should look at your specific skill or your party leader's specific skill and, match you with players around that because I do like a challenge. Although, whooping kids, like going 30-0 on, some 6-year-olds, it's fun, but it doesn't really help you grow as a player, and it's only fun for so long. I mean, if that's all you do all night, by the end of the night, honestly, you're gonna be bored.
Yeah, but honestly, that's what league play is for. If you think about it, league play is for to get better as a player. When pubs, you could take it easy and really.
Yeah, I agree to a point because I think in league play, obviously you want to get better, but do you want to do it at the risk of your stats? I don't want to say your stats, but if you're doing league play to try and be the best, do you really want to risk that learning experience as you do it? And I think, with pubs, you can do that because, it's pub stats. It doesn't really matter. And I think, if you're just padding your pub stats and then you go into league play and you blow, I think there's a disconnect in between there that there's some sort of bridge that needs to be built in there. I think that can relate to any game, honestly.
No, I get that.
On the bright side, we're not getting a crossbow anymore. It looks like we're getting an actual bow and arrow.
Yes.
So kudos.
Yep.
But that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the bow and arrow. I thought that'd be kind of cool.
Honestly, out of all the weaponry, other than maybe the mech flying overhead, that's the only thing that gave an interest to me. Because I swear I saw the same AK-47 from the past 3 games in there at least 4 shots.
Well, something that looked pretty interesting was I saw that all the kill streaks are killable. So you're not necessarily going to get destroyed like in past Call of Duties from AC-130 spawn destroying you every time. Apparently you have the opportunity to just destroy these guys without just getting wrecked off of the spawn. Which that's always interesting. It's kind of like an equalizer. The more skilled you are, the more reward you can probably get from these, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. One thing that I heard T. Martin talk about, he didn't say yes or no. I assume it's because of an NDA, but they were talking about UAVs, and the Blackbird was mentioned. Now, nobody has confirmed nor denied this, but I think because it's Treyarch, because it's Black Ops, I would expect a Blackbird or a Blackbird upgrade. I don't think the ground UAVs or the drones are. I think it'd be too, underdeveloped for the type of game. I mean, if it's set in the future, it should obviously be some sort of future UAV. My guess would be it'd either be something similar to a Blackbird or just a straight satellite from outer space, which
maybe they could just do I mean, not taking Advanced Warfare's idea, but Advanced Warfare had a UAV, but you could buff it to how strong you want it, and it adds more points on it.
Let's say you can just get the NSA perk and just hack everybody's phones or something.
Right?
Prism.
Yeah. One thing that I want to see, and I hope to God that it's in there, is the Scorpion from Black Ops 2. I know we've seen some crazy guns that I think it was the AN-94, or I think it looked like the AN-94. It looks like it was making a comeback. There was another SMG that I saw in the trailer when the guy was wall running.
There we go.
God, that was hard to say. I don't know why, but that was hard to say. But when he was wall running, he looked like he had a high tech SMG. I hope that I don't really care if they bring back the AN-94. Cool, it was a great weapon, but I really want the Scorpion back. I hope they bring it back.
I say MSMC. I'm personally MSMC.
Well, the interesting part about this is if you pre-order it, you're gonna get beta access, so you're gonna be able to get to try out some of this stuff, but you gotta pay to get that pre-order access, which is kind of a downside. But at this point, I think it's pretty much run of the mill for these AAA game releases.
Yeah, I think that goes with every game. I think the trend now is with pre-orders is that when you pre-order, you get these special perks. For I guess being loyal. I don't really know how you want to call it, but it's like, hey, if you commit to buying our game, these are the perks that you get. Now you can always just go in and be like, hey, I want to put my $5 down. You get your code, be like, okay, I want my $5 back, and I'll put it towards another game, whatever else is coming out. I know we're going to talk about a couple other games here in a minute. Like, what was it? Battlefront's coming out around the same time.
Yeah. Blops is going to be the second out of the 3 major FPS titles for the fall, with Halo rounding out the first and Battlefront coming in at the end. Battlefront's going to be about 11 days after Blops' initial launch. Which also, interesting little note, Blops is going to be the first FPS I've seen in a while to not come out on a Tuesday. It will be coming out on a Friday night.
Interesting. Wow.
The Friday, not a Tuesday.
Before we get all into the other games that's coming out in the same week as it, there was a part in that trailer that it showed them actually shooting underwater.
Yes.
Now
I didn't see any of those ghost fishes. Do you remember how big the deal those fish were in the Ghost?
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, I mean, it might be a campaign thing, but
no.
Who's to say that they would implement it into multiplayer? Also?
It is. It's 100% fact. David Vonderhaar mentioned it. It is 100% fact that there will be at least one map for sure that there is an underwater part. It has to do something with a waterfall or something. And basically, whenever you go into the water, it's seamless. So there's no.
That sounds pretty cool.
Once you go underwater, it basically it just takes over and you start swimming instead of running. Like, it's the same thing as you would. There's no control changes or anything. You'll start swimming and you'll have your gun in one hand and you can like sprint swim, which obviously would put your gun away and you swim with both hands. And you can shoot your weapons underwater, and over time your health deteriorates obviously, and you'll end up drowning if you stay down there too long. But it is confirmed for at least one map, which is obviously probably the map that we saw. He said on the trailer that what we saw there was multiplayer footage. It wasn't campaign. So what you saw there is just multiplayer.
That's awesome.
So I personally, I really don't know how I'm going to feel about that, because I don't want some fucking Rambo creeper in the water and then I'm running by and then he pops up and fucking shoots me in the gooch. Like, honestly, I'd probably rage.
Tempo says that's already going to happen.
Probably. There's probably going to be some...
With the gooch that size, it's kind of inevitable.
But...
So this is supposed to be only for next gen, right?
Yes, it is 100%. As for right now, it's 100% that it is only next-gen consoles. So it's only Xbox One, only PlayStation 4, and only PC, which is honestly great. I'm sorry for, the last-gen people, but, I mean, work the corner, make some money, get a next-gen, because, I mean, if you think about it, if they're building for last-gen and current-gen consoles, then they have to dumb the game down, because you can't build one game for the current gen and expect it to run on last gen. It's not going to work. So
it's not just that; it's a waste of money for the companies where they could redirect the funds elsewhere.
Exactly. And
Gamer otherwise.
nobody's going to build two games. They're not going to build a separate game for current gen and a separate game for last gen. So I think the transition to the current gen or next gen is needed to produce a better game.
No,
Otherwise,
I get that.
otherwise you're going to get stuck with the same shit
And
that you have
it
now.
adds value to if you already bought the next gen. It adds value. Like why would I even buy one of these? Because
Yeah, it's like, why are you going to spend $400 just to have slightly better graphics when the game mechanics are still going to have to be dumbed down to work with all of them? Like it's not why I
in
bought
a way better
this
party
console.
system, I think we all can agree.
I think it just holds the campaign back of Call of Duty.
Yeah,
and even in any game, any series,
it holds the game mechanics. The core mechanics are held back because you can't experiment and you can't make these systems work properly. Like, they're not working as hard as they should be with new game mechanics, new styles, and you can't do these things because you have to work on an old system. So I think doing this is going to make not only this game better but future games better, and that's kind of like with Halo and Battlefront and these other games that are coming out. I'm pretty sure that they're for all four consoles, which is kind of, like, I don't want to say depressing, but it kind of sucks. So I'm hoping that it's still going to be.
Battlefront is only next gen as well as Halo 5. There is no difference.
Oh, really?
They're all next gen.
Oh, really? Okay, well then I take that back.
Yeah,
and I'm fucking stoked.
This is the year of separation. This is where Xbox 360 is not going to be getting titles. Like, we've gotten a little confirmed and unconfirmed here that Gears of War is going to get an HD 1080p remaster, 60 frames per second, just like Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4 did, and it's only going to be Xbox One.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice.
So that's gonna be another little feather in the cap for Microsoft pulling off a huge amount of games.
Nice.
So are they
that wasn't exclusive.
Are they remastering the whole Gears, or just 1, 2, and 3? And forget about Jim?
Sounds like what they're gonna do is Gears 1, 2, and 3.
So my thing is
no judgment.
With Battlefront, there's a lot of rumors going around the internet, and I heard that it could have been potentially like a Battlefield 4 reskinned. You know what I mean? And that's really frightening to me that, potentially we're buying another game that we've already bought and it's just got some more cosmetic features to it.
And this is where that is not going to be like that, because I found an interesting article, I think it was 2 days ago, where they were talking about the destructive system that all the Battlefield games have. Tearing down shit ton of buildings, everybody blowing shit up. Well, it's not going to be as extensive. There are going to be certain things you can pull the crap out of, but it's not going to have the level of destruction that you would see in a Battlefield game, because they thought it would not feel true to a Star Wars game to have massive destruction.
Right.
On a level. So they are scaling the destruction back. So on that fact, is nowhere near Battlefield. We're not going to have, you could take down an entire building if you just bombard the crap out of it. That's gone. In some instances, not. So it's almost like the destruction's kind of limited, but it's definitely going to look a lot more than, obviously, the Battlefront we saw on the original Xbox. And when they did on the PC as well.
Another big concern was, it's not big enough, the big lobbies. I think it's confirmed that's 20v20.
Which 20v20 at its largest.
That scares a lot of people. The people that like that large conquest style of game.
I think you gotta find a happy medium in these games. Because anybody that tells you if they went on Battlefield, if you go to Battlefield Online, go to Battlefield 3 and play Metro, that one map that was just the subways.
Right.
And do that on Rush, 64 versus 64, you can barely go an inch in front of you. It's a massive hail of gunfire.
Right, no,
I gotta look at
it's not fun, especially if it's overpopulated,
so,
many explosions.
I think what DICE did is they took a step back and took a look at the that quality versus quantity thing.
No, that
Like, is too many people gonna ruin a mode or modes or just the game or that map in general? So
well,
I think
I'd be interested
we'll
to see
see.
if that's a smart play on their part. Because if it does up the quality of gameplay, kudos to them for, not necessarily just cookie cuttering out the same game every time.
They obviously took their times on this. I mean, there was a lot of people that thought this series was dead in the water. Like 2 years ago, you would have heard this was never going to happen. Like, it was dead. It was changing so many hands. Like, nobody knew it was going to happen. It's been a decade since the second game came out, so we'll definitely
So
see.
what was the release date on Battlefront?
It's going to be 17th of November, with the Battle of Jakku free DLC coming out a week to 2 weeks after. Don't remember the exact date off my head.
And that's a free DLC, correct?
And it's a free DLC on the new map, and it's going to be very exclusive because the simple fact this is apparent nobody's ever played before, and that the battle you're going to play, this DLC, this battle, is going to be kind of a big thing in apparently the new Star Wars movie.
Ooh.
As we saw at the beginning of the trailer, that was the planet, the Battle of Jakku. So we'll see what that entails really. But a lot of people are psyched that may be kind of like an intertwine. And there hasn't been as many people that have been upset that the prequel factions will not be at launch, which they will not be. It's only classic. It's Rebels versus Empire. That's all it is. There's no Republic versus the Confederacy.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
It makes you wonder over like the possibilities with DLCs and stuff. It's 10 years since the last game. So what could they possibly add in between now and the next 10 years?
Well, you got a good point. One of the staples of Battlefront 2 was their space battles, which was there were a ton of like escort frigates. Then there was your main one where you could man the guns on that. You could do the dogfights, or you could board the enemy ship to take it out, and that was your goal, is to blow up the enemy ship. So you could either go inside, take it out, or do a dogfight and destroy the outside of it. That is not going to be in Battlefront.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though. Well, it is for the people that love that game mode, but then again, I think that was a game mode that just wasn't as fluid as the rest of the game modes.
In my opinion on that, and the whole prequel factions, and not having clone troopers or the heroes that went alongside that, or the droids, is that plays for great DLC. Plus, you'll be coming off the hinges of a new Star Wars movie, which you can do DLC for.
Right.
So you can always add those space battles. You can add the prequel factions, and you can add in the new necessities that we get from Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Not to revert back to Black Ops real quick, something that I wanted to bring up earlier and I forgot is the rumor that Sony bought the Call of Duty, I guess, contract. I don't know how true it is, but I think that's probably something to keep an eye on. I did notice that, like, whenever you go to do the pre-order from the Call of Duty thing, PlayStation was preset. And I from the past, I believe they always made sure Xbox was first, or Xbox was the preset. So I think that's something to keep an eye on as well. PlayStation also uploaded the Ember trailer first before Xbox did. So I think that might be something interesting to keep an eye on if PlayStation is able to acquire that.
Yeah, it's definitely something interesting. But when you think about it, you can't. Yeah, let's say they do go to PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that don't change the aspect of eSports going to PlayStation. That just makes PlayStation get the content before the Xbox.
Right. I don't think it's going to change the eSports and how it's played. Like, I think MLG and Xbox, obviously I don't understand the behind the scenes and how that works, but to me it seems like they've got a really good thing going, and I don't think that that's going to go away anytime soon. Plus, on the side that I think the pros could switch over, to PlayStation. They have both because they're pros. So I don't think that's would really be that big of a difference. I do think that it'd probably take a hit as far as like true like GB competitive. I think the majority of people are obviously already committed to Xbox. Like if you're like a hardcore Call of Duty fan, the likelihood is that you play on Xbox because you've always gotten the DLCs and everything's first, and that's just how it's always been. Call of Duty is synonymous with Xbox. I think,
but to piggyback off of that real quick. Because we have these three major titles coming out all right next to each other, and then if they really dare to and they put Gears somewhere in this fall lineup, does it matter in the end? Because we've seen over the past 7 months that Halo 5 has begun to cater very hardcore to the eSports area. I mean, they brought back a lot of old school pros, committing them to the HCS championships, which has been a huge deal.
Yep.
Iron Gaming tournaments all over Ohio, Vegas, everywhere. And then Battlefront is something people waited for a decade. I don't know where there was no esports for it really. There was a little bit, but it wasn't a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Gears had a big esports following, so if that makes a comeback,
yeah, I think Halo 5 is probably going to dominate 2016 as far as esports goes. I honestly expect it to overtake Call of Duty for sure. I think
it's anyone out of the three, I believe it's Halo, because I enjoyed playing. I played the beta at Jesse's one time, and it was so new and different. It felt like a different game, but it was still Halo.
Yeah.
I think we could all agree we were impressed when it came to Halo 5 beta. We were impressed. It had a better launch than MCC.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And number 2, Breakout. That game mode was like the
A
best
breath of fresh
competitive
air.
game modes I've ever seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It's a great mode.
Like,
sure.
from the opening of the match, you could tell, I was like, oh, this is supposed to be competitive because we're posing and jumping into an arena.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the whole design of the Halo multiplayer is geared in with esports in mind. Like especially that game mode. That game mode is 100% esports. Period. It's not made for casual gaming. That is 100% esports. The way that the maps were designed, the way that the game is played, it's naturally intense and competitive. And that's what I love is Halo is always going to be esports centric, I guess.
And what we saw with MCC is what is confirmed for Halo 5, in that they are going to be using a lot of what Halo 2's ranking system was for their games from now on. They're going away from all their other ranking systems and going back to Halo 2, which is where it all started.
Yep.
So it's and everybody loved that game, that ranking system a lot, and missed it. So
yeah,
they're doing everything right to bring the pros on board. And then when we were talking about the Call of Duty thing, and maybe losing a little bit of that because PlayStation gets the DLC first, I don't know if it would matter in Microsoft's grand scheme or in general, because for some reason Xbox is esports where the pros go to. That's just how it is. I don't know if it's the layout of the controller or the system or what have you, but for things like Battlefront, Battlefield, any FPS, this has kind of been the home for esports for some time.
Well, guys, does anybody have any major topics they want to hit before we wrap this thing up? We're kind of getting close to time.
Yeah, I just asked on chat for those guys over there if they had anything they wanted to add or talk about. So give it a second to catch up.
I'm just going to say, anybody in the chat, if you saw that graph about Battlefront, it's wrong. It was wrong. It was hastily done on Reddit before the devs even did a small Q&A. Just a little bit. I'm sure we'll see a lot more at E3. They're still showing off pre-alpha footage. And from what it sounds like, just a little bit expand on the trailer, the gameplay trailer we saw. is what people kind of played in that pre-alpha that some people got to get to, and they described it more like the rush gameplay.
Yeah.
The mode, because apparently the AT-AT was on tracks.
Yeah, it's on a rail.
It was being manned by people, but it was on tracks, and the goal of the Rebel Alliance was to destroy it before it got there, much like Rush.
So,
in a sense.
So, I guess before we wrap this up, what do you guys, I guess we'll go through each one of you guys, what do you guys think, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, at least with Black Ops? We'll end it on Black Ops since it's been a huge day for Black Ops. I think that's a good thing. What do you guys think? I guess we'll start with Skill.
Well, I think what's promising is that the fact that it's Black Ops. We've had Advanced Warfare, we've had Ghost, and I think everybody was ready for the eSports-centric first-person shooter to come back to Call of Duty. I think the downside is there seems to be this divide of people that like the jetpack movement and the wall running, and then the people that like it to be a linear gun skill. You point at me, I point at you. Whoever can get it in the head box better wins. You know what I mean? But that's all things to be considered. I would say one of the bigger downside is the pre-order for beta access. We're used to it, but at this point you don't have to do that to us. You know what I mean? and with so many games coming out all at the same time, it just makes me feel like maybe if they gave us beta access for free, I'd be more inclined to purchase their game than I would be because I'm already going to be spending it on Halo or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my opinion. But what do you think there, Harlan?
Pretty much read my mind, man. I mean, yeah, the upside, yes, it's Treyarch, it's Black Ops. Black Ops was the best game in the Call of Duty franchise. Some people could argue Black Ops 1, but the up is Treyarch. The downside to me is still the jumping, just because I've played Black Ops, I'm on it Advanced Warfare, and you get used to it when you play it a lot. You get used to it, and it becomes fun, but sometimes there's a point where it has to stop. I know, yeah, they're going above the level. They do not want to root back into the same boring old Call of Duty, which obvious, like y'all said before, don't fix nothing that's not broken.
Right.
I think I'm fine with the boostings left and right, and even with the linears if it's limited. But I don't want it to be anywhere close to Advanced Warfare. I want it to be a whole lot different. If it is a boost up, then make it be slower or make it do something, or you can only use it one time per life, or have limitations to it, because I just
don't want it to be a boost game instead of
I don't want it to be a boost game.
First-person shooter.
Yeah, boosting left and right I'm fine with, but verticality I'm definitely against. So that's my downside about it.
All right. Well, you want to wrap us up there, Irish?
I think the good is kind of unanimous here. I mean, it's Black Ops. I mean, the only games, I'm not the hugest Call of Duty fan, but before I was a part of this great organization here, I always played with my friends, and they were all Call of Duty fans. And I would only play if it was either Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2, since World at War was destroyed by modders. So, I mean, it's that. It's the series that people love. I mean, we saw Ghosts, and that was just terrible. Advanced Warfare didn't live enough up to the hype. I mean, single player wise, it lived up to the hype. I loved Kevin Spacey in it. House of Cards, yeah, let's go. The bad is, and I'm always skeptical about Call of Duty, so call me a hater if you will, but that's just that I need some originality. If Halo 5 can reproduce, if Halo, who's been going on for so long, can produce some type of originality in their modes, to gain a huge chunk of people back that they lost to Call of Duty, then that's what I need to see from Call of Duty. You need to give me something a little bit more original. And this trailer was typical Call of Duty. There was nothing special about it. They had the bat. It was good music. I'll give it that. But they need to. There needs to be another round of unique. Like Black Ops had it with its storyline, which was really great. It had going back to a '60s type style, which everybody loved Battlefield Vietnam, so that was a nice take back to that, a nice aspect of that. But it needs to go back to what is it going to bring, because it's going to be in the middle of a pack of 2 other major games, possibly 3. And that's a big deal. So it needs to stand out. This can't be another, we look at the hype, we look at the hype, we look at the hype, and then crap type of game.
No, right. I get that for sure.
Yeah, see, here's what I want, or what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that the mechanics, the fluidity of the game is that of Titanfall or Battlefield. Both of those games have exceptional character movement. The way that you move between obstacles and buildings and things like that, it's very fluid, it's very continuous, and that's something that I want to see progress into Black Ops 3. I want to see league play that works, that looks at different factors other than win-loss, other than KD. I wanted to look at your overall team's progression and things like that, so it's not boostable. I don't want to see the same people sitting in a building with a fucking riot shield just trying to squeeze out a win with 1 kill. I want to see, I guess, I don't want it to be the same Call of Duty that it's always been. I understand that you only have 2 years to build the game. Halo 5, they've had plenty of time to build a game. These other companies, they've had plenty of time. So in that aspect, I'll give them a break. But I want to see some of these things that they know that they can fix, they know that they can do better. And now that it's next gen only, I feel that they should be responsible enough to be able to do that. The trailer hit on some of that, the movement and things like that. It looks really fluid. It looks really smooth. And I'm just hoping that they don't fail as far as that. It's mainly league play. That's my biggest concern, is league play, is whether it's going to be as broken as it was, or if they're going to add new features and new factors into how you're ranked, rather than just based off of a win or a loss. So
sounds good to me, man.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, I guess as more stuff comes out, we're obviously going to talk more about it.
Keep you updated.
Yeah.
Well, the closer we get to E3, the more things start to leak. More plans for conferences.
Yep.
Well,
Even
showing
Microsoft
multiplayer.
said they were going to focus on first party entities on their big time on this. So
Sweet.
third party games aren't going to have a big of a focus this time around for Xbox, which is an
Cool.
interesting take.
Yeah. I guess with that being said, we've been at this for quite a while here. I want to thank everyone for coming out to the stream. Very much appreciated. I hope you guys enjoyed something, learned something, took something away from this. Come back next Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here to talk about more. I think next week we're going to talk about Destiny.
Some House of Wolves content.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some House of Wolves, some Destiny eSports.
We'll have some more Black Ops stuff, I'm sure, to break down.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Once we
No
get
raid,
frame
boo.
by frame of 3 hours
Yeah.
of footage.
So, hope you guys come back, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SVN Esports. And till then, guys, talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.